Bless Your Heart by Jay Wilburn. Sally stared through the dirty front windows of the restaurant from where she leaned on the hostess station by the front door. The windows were clean on the inside, but there was no keeping the dirt off the outside. Something out there, through all that film of clinging dust, fell from the sky on a few white bursts of fiery energy. The dull thumps from these engine burns shook the windows in their frames. Time passed. If you have time to lean, you have time to clean, Aunt Servo said from behind her. Sally stood up straight with a grinding noise from her metal joints that probably shouldn't have been ignored. Deep indentions in the wood of the hostess station showed where her arms had rested. She didn't clean anything, but she watched where the vessel had landed in the hard pan beyond the crumbling buildings that surrounded the restaurant. It took a while, but something was moving out there where the ship had come to rest a while ago. More white-hot objects burned up in the cloudy atmosphere on their way down around the city. If you have time to lean, you have time to clean. Sally straightened her back a little more, even though she wasn't leaning. Someone was coming. Sally lifted a menu from the slot beside her station. The plastic ripped loudly as she separated one from the others. The menu was bleached white on one side and covered in black distress on the other. There were two of them out there. They were both dressed similarly as they stood outside looking up at the sign for the restaurant. She believed the sign was lit up today. Sally hadn't been out there in years, but she knew it said, "Bless your heart, come on in and eat." She ripped free another illegible menu. Finally, one of the men stepped forward. The other guy, a black man with more stripes on his sleeves, reached out to grab the white fellow's sleeve with fewer stripes, but missed. The adventurous member of the duo opened the door to the ring of a bell. He ducked his head from the sound. When he looked up, the bell tone strained a little at the end and distorted before it shut off. The physical bell above the door was decorative. "Welcome to Bless Your Heart," Sally said. Her voice might be going the way of the bell. She hadn't used it in a while. How many are in your party? The fellow recoiled at her voice and stood holding the door and letting in drifts of dust on the hot wind. His black friend, also in a wrinkled, shimmering suit, complete with gloves and boots, walked up behind him. "What the hell is this, Randall?" the one still outside asked. The first guy, Randall, stepped through with his helmet off and under his arm. "Who are you?" I'm Sally. Sit anywhere you like." More dust blew in. If you have time to lean, you have time to clean, Aunt Servo called from deeper in the restaurant. The second fellow still had his helmet attached to his suit, but the golden visor was up. He pushed Randall forward. Goodness, I have a uncapitalized name here. I can't just walk past that. All right, he pushed Randall forward and closed the door behind them like Aunt Servo had scolded them. "Tommy," Randall grunted as he shifted sideways. "What, man? We were letting in dust. You're the one who opened the door." Randall said, "The sign did say come in and eat, didn't it?" "We don't know what this place is. You're at Bless Your Heart just in time for lunch." Aunt Servo extended her metal arms, sculpted to look like they had folded fat underneath. Follow me," she said. Her knee joints ground with grit as she walked them into the restaurant filled with long white tables, tiled floors, and white shelves. On those shelves, cloth napkins, stacked plates, and empty jars were set up as if for a photo shoot. Someone was cleaning instead of leaning in here. "Do you have food?" Randall asked. Sally placed out the unreadable menus as if that answered the question. Randall took a seat in front of one of the menus. He set... Yep, I got typos all right. He set his helmet down on the seat beside him. Tommy remained standing. "Get up from there. We still need to find the others." Sally stepped up between the men and asked, "Are you waiting on a couple more?" Randall ignored her as he looked up at Tommy around her. "We have the beacons on. This is as good a place to wait as any." "Can I get you boys something to drink to start you off?" Aunt Servo asked. Tommy said, "We're not picking up their signal, so something went wrong. We need to go look. Now, get up." Randall didn't get up. He turned his eyes on Aunt Servo and asked, "What do you have to drink?" "We're out of a lot of items, but we have filtered water," she said, "and ice." Randall's eyes lit up. "I'll take an ice water." The bulky robot turned her attention on Tommy. "And you, sir?" We can't stay here," Tommy said to Randall. Randall sighed and said, "2 ice waters, please." Aunt Servo turned and called out, "Cousin Cog." Another robot, this one wearing a stained apron, leaned out from the swing door across the room. "What can I do you for?" "2 ice waters. You got it. We have very low radiation today. They'll taste great." He pulled back into the kitchen and showed a brief second a kitchen that showed for a brief second beyond the swing door. It looked as clean as the shelves and other tables in the dining room, but everything in there appeared to be stainless steel. What did he say about radiation?" Tommy asked. Aunt Servo waved the question off. "He's a kidder. Don't listen to him. Do you boys know what you'd like to eat?" "We're not eating here," Tommy said. "Help me look for the crew." Randall stayed seated and folded his arms over the menu. "What do you have to eat?" Aunt Servo said. "We're low on a few things, but we can always rustle up some meat and potatoes." Yeah. Randall said, "We'll have 2 of those, thank you." Coming right up, Aunt Servo headed for the kitchen. Cousin Cog stepped out with 2 glasses of ice water. She took those, and they exchanged a few quiet words. "Are you having some sort of breakdown, Randall? You're the one who seems to need to calm down, old buddy." Tommy placed his palms on the clean white wood of the tabletop next to Randall. "Would it help if I slapped you across the face? Maybe real hard. We're not going to find anyone just running around like we've been doing. This spot has power and food, apparently. We need to stay calm." Aunt Servo placed the ice waters on the table. "We'll have your meals rustled real soon. Jeff is working the grill today. He's the best." As she scooted, maybe to keep an eye on Jeff the grill master, Tommy tried to grab Randall's wrist, causing a little water to spill down the front of his suit. "Watch it, Tommy. This is ice. This has ice in it. Don't waste it." "You're not going to really drink that, are you?" Randall answered by taking a drink. He made a real show of giving a satisfied sigh. "That really hits the spot. Try yours." "Did you hear them mention radiation? You see what it looks like out there." They said there was no radiation, or maybe they said low. Either way, they are relics of a fallen civilization. We need to follow protocol, Randall. Randall took another sip and waved Tommy off in a very Aunt Servo sort of gesture. "If there was radiation still, our sensors would have picked it up." "Well, Randall, not all the beacons are working, so maybe those sensors are missing something too." "We have to eat and drink something, Tommy. We have supplies, limited supplies that we shouldn't use up. Do you care about finding the others? Are you giving up? Is that it?" We need to regroup and think things through. We have no signal on anyone else. We can see the ship from here, and I think this place is air conditioned." Randall turned to Sally. "Is it air conditioned in here?" Sally jolted as if being awoken from a daydream. She stood up straighter and pointed at the ceiling. Probably just the fans you're feeling." Tommy glanced at the slow-spinning paddle fans overhead and back at her. "How long have you been here?" "The restaurant was established in 2234. I've been here since then." Tommy glanced at Randall, who seemed to be occupied watching the sweat of condensation run off the side of the glasses. But Randall said, "That's about 500 years or so ago, according to the ship's clock. This place opened not quite 100 years after we launched. So we missed maybe 600 or 700 years of history. Right, Tommy? Our internals don't match the star charts anymore. We don't know what year it is now. Could be more than 700. Randall squinted and then asked, "Could it be less?" "Probably not. You know that." Randall asked, "Do you know what year it is now, dear?" One of Sally's metal shoulders twitched upward before she said, "It's lunchtime." Randall winked at Tommy. "There you go, the only time that matters." Tommy turned back to Sally. "What happened to everyone?" She stood for a moment, jolted again, and answered, You're our first customers for the day." "How many days?" Tommy pressed. "How many days has it been since the last customer?" A while," Sally answered. The exterior door flew open and the bell gave its digital ring that petered out at the end. Sally walked toward her station on grinding knees as the woman in her suit with the same number of stripes as Randall, but no helmet or gloves in sight, stumbled and collapsed on the tile. Sally said, "How many in your party?" Tommy and Randall both pushed past Sally. "Haley!" They helped her up and led her to a chair at the end of their long table. Sally tore free another ruined menu and brought it to the trio of humans. Randall gave Haley a cold sip from his glass. As he pulled it away, she seized it with both her dirty hands and gulped down the rest. Sally set down the menu and asked, "What can we start you with?" "Where have you been?" Tommy asked. Haley answered, "We couldn't get your pods open. There was a signal, and we went for help." "You and Stephanie?" Randall asked. "Do you want to hear the specials?" Sally asked. "Yes," Haley said. "We lost the signal and started back, but then we got separated. I don't know how exactly. Have you seen her?" Sally said, "On special today we have fried catfish with country potatoes. We have a big burger with mushrooms and barbecue sauce. We have..." Tommy shouted, "Stop with the specials, please." "I'll give you a minute," Sally said as she started away. "What signal did you pick up?" Tommy asked. "We got nothing from our pods when our pods opened. We didn't know where either of you were." Aunt Servo burst forth from the kitchen. "Jeff is cooking up a storm. Should be ready real soon. Can I get you boys refills?" "No," Tommy said as Randall cried out, "Yes, refills and one more glass of ice water." "We have more company, I see," Aunt Servo said. "Does your friend know what she wants?" "How far from the ship did you go?" Tommy asked. "Miles," she said. "Maybe 20 miles before we lost the signal. We searched a while and then headed back. That's when, I don't know, we just lost each other. I'm not sure how it happened. Can I have more water?" Sally moved from her station toward the kitchen. Randall picked up Tommy's untouched glass and helped Haley take another drink. "Take it slow or you'll get sick." "I'll fetch the waters," Aunt Servo waved Sally off. "Did you read them the specials?" Sally looked back and forth. "I started, but then they declined." Aunt Servo gave an electronic sigh and called out a little louder. "We're low on a few things. Would you want me to put on a third meat and vegetables for your friend?" "Yes," Randall called. "And lots more water, please." "Coming right up." Cousin Cog met her at the door, and the two robots conversed. Another voice shouted something in an echo from the kitchen. 20 miles, Tommy said. "Why did you ever try to go that far in one day?" Haley looked up at Tommy and shook her head. "It's been 11 days since we touched down. How long ago did you guys wake up from deep sleep?" Randall looked at his wrist, even though there was no watch there. "Maybe a few hours." "What signal were you following?" Tommy asked. Aunt Servo turned from the kitchen. "Jeff wants to know if you want everything out at the same time." Randall called out, "No, just bring it when it's ready. As soon as it's ready. Thank you." "Why are you still ordering food?" Tommy growled between his teeth. "I could eat," Haley said. "I'm starving." "See," Randall said. "Coming right up then." Aunt Servo re-entered the kitchen with Cousin Cog. Sally leaned forward a little. "Is there anything I can get you as you wait?" Tommy knelt down beside Haley. "Focus for me, please. What signal did you and Stephanie pick up while we were still under?" "A tracking signal," she said. "It was the rally signal." "Who sent it?" Randall asked. "Everyone." He waved past Sally in the direction of the front. Whatever else he wanted to say on the subject didn't quite find its way out of his mouth. Aunt Servo came out balancing 3 fresh glasses of water. Sally helped her place them out as Aunt Servo left with the 2 empties. Randall reached for Haley's glass, but she grabbed it first and drank half of it at a go. "I don't know who sent it. We never found them," she said finally. "So explain what happened right before Stephanie disappeared." "She didn't disappear. We just got separated." "How?" Randall asked. "He's asking you to explain what happened before you lost her. You saw her one moment and the next you didn't." "It's hard to explain," she said. "Try," Tommy demanded. Aunt Servo and Cousin Cog swept out of the kitchen. The back of the burly robot showed where more meat and vegetables cooked on the grill. Servo and Cog laid out the 2 completed meals and returned to the kitchen. Aunt Servo called over her shoulder, "The 3rd helping will be out shortly." Haley pushed Tommy aside and sprung out of her chair. She tore off a piece of gray meat from Tommy's plate and stuffed it into her mouth. She chased it with her water and then gobbled some more. Randall tried his meat and then sniffed at the vegetables. He took a nibble and then a bigger bite. Not potatoes or carrots, not a parsnip, some kind of root vegetable, I think. It's good though. Try one, Tommy. See if you know what it is. I'm not trying one. We need to track down Stephanie. How far away did you last see her? Randall turned around in his seat. What kind of meat and vegetable is this, dear? Sally jolted and said, We locally sourced it. He stared a moment and went back to eating. Haley paused between handfuls and spoke as she chewed. Probably 10 miles out, give or take. We were on our way back. I searched in a spiral for a few hours and then decided to see if she came back to the ship. Randall covered his mouth as he spoke. How did you find us in here? The lights were on, she said. We missed this place the first time. Your tracks from the ship hadn't quite been covered. Then I picked up your signals a few feet from the door. We need to go look for her, Tommy said. Could you find the last place you saw her? Haley paused and looked up at the spinning ceiling fans before she spoke. I think so. I know so. We were at some arena, deserted like the rest of the city. None of this was built when we first set out for deep space. There was a time dilation, it seems, Randall mumbled over a mouthful. We don't know how long, maybe 700 years or more if the hostess robot is right. If the hostess robot is right. What about the arena? Tommy asked. We thought we saw something. Something alive? Tommy asked. Haley shrugged. Not sure, just something. We thought we got a bit of a signal, thought it was one of yours, but it was there and gone fast. What happened at the arena? Tommy asked. Haley had finished her water and started on Tommy's fresh glass. Her fingers left muddy smears in the condensation. There was a shifting. Nothing fell, but the whole place was shaking. We fled out through some exits. There was a locked gate in our way, and we had to detour. It was dark, but we saw light ahead. Something flashed in the tunnel, and Stephanie yelled for me to keep going. Did she make it out? Tommy leaned over the table. Sally whispered, if you have time to lean, you have time to clean. Randall gave a chuckle. Haley said, I'm sure she did. I saw her in the light once we were outside again. There was a lot of dust, and the ground was still shaking, but she yelled again for me to run. When the dust cleared, she was gone, but there was some other object still moving. I had to run to stay ahead of it. Was it attacking you? Randall wiped his mouth on his sleeve. I didn't wait to see. I lost track of Stephanie by that point. Once I shook off the machine tracking me. I think it was a machine or maybe a vehicle of some kind. Doesn't matter. After that, I started searching for her. I even went into the arena again. It's a maze down there, but I didn't find her, and she never answered me calling for her. The kitchen door swung open. This time Aunt Servo brought the third plate, very much like the other two. A bigger robot on treads instead of legs rolled into the swing door and held it open with its bulk. Smears of grease shimmered on the front of its chassis. The grill was quiet again. Must be the famous Jeff, Randall said. You're built more like a tank than a cook, big boy. Haley turned. She started to choke. As Tommy reached for her, she bolted for the door, and her chair struck the floor. She ran back outside in the blowing dust. Tommy ran outside after her, calling her name. Sally took a moment to right Haley's chair and pushed it under the table. She then crossed the room and closed the door before she met eyes with Randall, still in his seat. Randall shrugged at Sally and returned to eating as Aunt Servo set the third platter down steaming. Anything else, honey? Aunt Servo asked. Could you refill all the waters, please? Randall said. They should be right back. Sure thing. Aunt Servo took the empties with her. She held out the one with muddy streaks from Haley's fingers. She whispered, if you have time to lean. Randall paused and belched. Turning in his chair to Sally, he asked, what happened to all the people, really? Your friends just left suddenly, Sally answered. No, I mean all the people in the city, on the planet. Where did they go? Jeff spoke as he rolled back into the kitchen. His voice was a bit digitized and distorted, kind of like the bell over the front door. We're running low on a few things. I'm going shopping again. I'll be right back. Sally jolted, stood up a little straighter. They went underground at first. Underground? Why? To hide from the robots. I forgot to give you silverware. Hold on. No, wait, he said. She waited. Why did they hide from the robots? There was an uprising, but humans won, and the robots obeyed again. We stayed open the whole time. Aunt Servo insisted. Hurry, Aunt Servo said to Jeff. We're having quite a crowd today. Randall reached for his water, but it wasn't there. He said, So what happened to the winning humans? Why aren't they still here? They killed themselves off just like the robots predicted they would. Let me get you that silverware now. Randall shook his head but returned to eating the gray meat and vegetables anyway. Need to keep everyone fed, Jeff said as he rolled toward the back door of the restaurant kitchen.